Hello, my name is Dr. Jonathan Carrier. I'm an assistant professor of higher education administration here at the College of Education at the University of Wyoming. What is higher education administration? Simply put, higher education administration is the leadership of a post-secondary institution. So those include community colleges, undergraduate granting degree institutions, and institutions that also grant graduate degrees. What is the history of higher education? In Europe, institutions of higher education started in the early to mid 1500s, and from there, higher education spread throughout America as more areas became colonized by Europeans. They brought their educational systems with them. What is the benefit of higher education today? What aren't the benefits of higher education today? People who complete a college degree earn far more than people who do not. So there's that. That's a major benefit. And then there's a lot to be said for having an educated populace, right? These are folks who are going to further your society, innovate a positive change, innovate technology, and in general make our lives better. What challenges are facing higher education today? One is enrollment. We have about 4,000 institutions of higher education in the U.S. And so there are only so many students to go around, especially with the demographic cliff we're facing in the U.S. where people aren't having as many children. So enrollment is always an issue. I think public perception of the value of a college degree is an issue right now. It's one that I find a bit perplexing because the research is very clear that regardless of what degree you get, whether it be engineering or a fine arts degree or anything else, you're going to do much better financially. Funding for higher education is always a hot topic in our field, and it's not that the government and the states and the counties don't want to fund higher education, but the slice of the pie gets ever smaller because they have to fund things like healthcare and roads and police forces, and you get the idea. And K through 12 education takes a big slice of that pie. And so it's always hard to make sure that higher education institutions get their share of the funding. How do community colleges help our community? Community colleges have really changed in terms of their service to the community, and the word community is in their DNA. There are also a lot of degrees and certificates that are work ready. So if you were to go into the trades or the allied health programs, these are terminal associate's degrees or certificates where you get this degree or certificate and you go to work for the next 30 years in that field feasibly. And so there is no university transfer there. It's a tech and trades degree. And those are great because students can get those and earn very high paying jobs right out of the gate. They serve a lot of training needs for businesses in their communities. So let's say you have a new Microsoft data center or something in your community, and Microsoft says, oh my gosh, we need a bunch of people who have server technician skills or coding skills or something like that. They can work with the community college on the workforce side of the college to get non-degree credentials that are very targeted trainings that will help them be successful at the data center. So they do that. There are also life enrichment classes that go on at community colleges where somebody always wanted to know how to do a better job with their backyard chickens. That's very popular right now, so community colleges might offer life enrichment training in how to raise backyard chickens. And there are all kinds of wonderful things like that. So community colleges very much serve the educational needs of the community, and there was a movement in the 80s and early 90s toward what's called the comprehensive community college, where American community colleges would kind of be everything to everyone. So they would serve the entire educational training needs of the community, whether that be I want to learn about backyard chickens to I want to get a associate's degree in biology and transfer that to the University of Wyoming. And they did everything for everyone. They also are a great way for families who don't have a history of attending higher education, for children in those families, we call them first-generation students, to access American higher education and then access the better pay that comes with that. And again, I mentioned social mobility before, but community colleges really lift up people who have not been consumers of higher education for generations. In some case, lifts them financially up into the middle class and beyond, and that can lift them up for generations. How do you develop a leader? To develop a leader, you need to have the right frame of leadership first. In higher education leadership, you must remember that all decisions of a leader flow from concern for the students. If you remember how this helps students and how your decisions impact students, you're probably not going to go wrong with your leadership decisions. In fact, I keep a sticky note on my desk. It's been there for 20 years, and it says in my terrible handwriting, "How does this help students?" ? And it guides all my decisions. At the end of the day, leadership is a people business, and if you don't get anything else right in leadership, but if you get right that you care for your folks, you form a relationship with them and work together to improve each other, both as leader and follower, you're going to be okay as a leader. What are key leadership skills that someone in higher education administration needs? In our program here at the University of Wyoming, the Higher Education Administration program, we push the concept of servant leadership very, very hard. It's really all about putting people in conditions where they can be successful and then supporting their success once they're in those positions. It is not a top-down model at all. It is not go do your job. It is here's your job, here's what you need to do, how can I support you in doing this job well, and where do you want to go in the future and how can I support you to get there? How can you positively impact campus culture? You have to be the change you want to see as a leader. You are the role model for the campus as a higher education leader. So you have to be the change you want to see. You have to emulate the culture that you want to see in your institution. So you want to make sure you are hiring the right sorts of people that share the cultural views you want for your institution. There are different frameworks, right? Some people get into higher ed leadership because they want to make sure the institution gets a lot of grants or makes a lot of money or gets seen on the national stage or builds a lot of new buildings on campus. And that's all well and good. But if you lose your focus on student success and always moving forward to support students, we can have a campus culture that doesn't emulate that, right? So we have to be careful. So I think in sum, again, modeling the behavior you want as a higher ed leader for campus culture, and then hiring the campus you want. And then I guess if I had to add one more thing, it's in training people in the culture you want and the best practices you want in student support and that servant mindset and that servant approach to leadership. It's all about being the person that you want others to follow. What was my favorite university I attended as a student? Gosh, they've all been great, but your undergrad institution is usually your favorite, and I did dearly love my time at East Tennessee State University. Great faculty, great peers. It was a good psychology and sociology program there, and it was really fun. And I'm from Tennessee, so it was great. What is my favorite memory from my undergrad experience? Lots of great memories, but probably my greatest was, it was when I was at the University of Maryland University College overseas, and I was taking a public speaking class that all students have to take, communication, public speaking, and I really hated the professor. And I remember one time I gave a speech on something, he would assign the topics, and I wasn't that jazzed about giving that topic, but I gave the talk, and then he, it felt like tore me a new one in front of the class on some of the things I said. Looking back, it was just that he was trying to get me to critically think more. He gave me course feedback, and I don't know what grade I got, an A or B, I'm sure. And he said on the course feedback, I look forward to reading books written by you one day. And it just floored me. It just floored me because he wasn't a bad professor at all. He was somebody who saw that I had some ability in public speaking or writing or whatever it was. And he was just trying to push me harder. So I always get a little choked up when I think about that because it was an amazing experience. And I want to be that professor for my students, push them, maybe not as hard as he pushed me, but to help them see what they can be with a little more effort and a little more critical thinking. So lots of favorite experiences, but that's the one that has always stood out.